News alert, 2 Russian warplanes buzzing the USS Ronald Reagan in international waters, prompting the Navy to send U.S. fighter jets in response to intercept the aircrafts. Joining us now is one of Vladimir Putin's biggest critics, Garry Kasparov, author of the new book, Winter is Coming, Why Vladimir Putin and the Enemies of the Free World Must Be Stopped. Garry, good to see you again. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk about the latest news and sort of what's going on in terms of Putin's motives in Syria. How do you see it?
Putin, keeps adding fire and testing the resolve of the United States and NATO, because he has to show back home that he is the leader, Vladimir the Invincible, unbeatable, who can defy Americans. I think that there are probably more Russian TV crews in Syria than troops, because every day you can see Russian television, all sorts of pictures from all the angles, and they just demonstrate how great is Putin and how weak is the United States.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's interesting. I think that one of the mistakes that American commentators have made looking at foreign policy is they tend to look at the Middle East and terrorism through a Cold War lens, and they think you can handle ISIS the same way you could have handled the Soviet Union. But now we are back to the Soviet Union, and we need to get back to a little bit to that Cold War mind frame and think about, Putin has something to lose, and we need to let him know that.
Okay, winter is coming, so you're absolutely right. Many in this country and Europe believe that ISIS is the #1 threat. But ISIS is, I'm not going to undermine this threat, but it's very much regional. It dominates the Sunni territories in Iraq and Syria. But, it's not like Putin can create threats all over the place. And Putin, like, capo di tutti capi, boss of the bosses. And he can send his troops all over the place, and he can test American resolve in different places. But, of course, Middle East is a perfect place for this Putin's foreign policy adventure.
Well, what about the talks in Vienna? I mean, the Iran deal, we've got to talk about this. There's an official Russian news agency this morning that's saying about the Vienna talks that Iran's policy on Syria was based on Syrian their role in making decisions about their own future. I mean, obviously,
Syrian people.
Yeah, the Syrian people.
Those who survived Assad's rule. Yes, okay, fine. And as long as Assad stays in power, the war will not end, because almost all people there, they're just against him, and he's being protected by now Russian military, by Iranian troops, by Hezbollah, and without this support, it'll be gone.
You said a long time ago, I think it was on this program or my Sunday program on Fox News, President Obama can do as much damage or more damage in his last 18 months in office than in the entire 2 terms. In fact, this Iran deal perhaps feeds right into that.
Absolutely, because it's not just concessions that he has been making in these negotiations. It's the credibility of the office, because the next president will have to deal with the fact that America will lose a lot of respect in the eyes of the thugs, and next action should be much tougher. So Obama probably a few years ago could achieve a lot by simply saying don't do that and putting the real red line. But the moment he just diluted this red line and walked away from the region. Okay, it will be very difficult for next administration to restore this credibility.
But we talk about our weakness. What about the weakness in Russia's economy specifically, and by extension, Putin because of it? I mean, how precarious is the economic situation in
It's
Russia?
all connected.
It's even more annoying that when we talk about Cold War, that today's Russia is just a pale shadow of the Soviet Union. It's not as powerful economically, it's not as powerful militarily, but it has a leader with a lot of political will, who's willing to defy the free world and the United States, and instead of using these advantages, starting with economic advantages and financial powers that could be used to bring down Putin's regime, the United States is trying to cut a deal, and all these deals are just one way.
I'm remembering the Mitt Romney moment, when Mitt Romney basically said Russia is one of our most, Russia is the most dangerous geopolitical foe of the United States. And Obama laughed at him.
Yeah, unfortunately, Romney didn't defend, this position because it was not ready to actually bring the facts. Because Obama could easily say, no, we're still negotiating, we're doing this and that. But right now, at this moment, it's very clear that if Putin goes, many other problems could be solved easily because Iran will not be so defiant. Iran knows that America cannot do anything because Putin is there and Putin can, push America back, and Obama will never, start any confrontation.
Garry, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us, Garry Kasparov, and the book, Winter is Coming.